Today, we're celebrating 70 years of the Dogwood Trails in Knoxville. A response to an ugly comment helped turn a scruffy city into a thing of beauty, with bright blooms, miles of stunning scenery, and a reminder that a community can flourish if you plant the idea to others. Good evening and welcome to this look at the history of dogwood arts here in Knoxville. I'm Katie Inman. 70 years ago, a group of women changed Knoxville for the better by opening the very first dogwood trail in the city. Today, we're looking back at the rich history these beloved trees in East Tennessee have given us and why we celebrate them. We begin with a story Bill Williams did as part of his Our Stories series. It explains how the dogwood trails are a beautiful response to an ugly comment made by an outsider. Here's that story.
It's been called the best 17 days of spring in America.
It's beautiful.
With beautiful flowers, arts and entertainment, parades and civic celebration. But Knoxville's now famous Dogwood Arts Festival had somewhat humble beginnings. In 1946, well-known writer John Gunther wrote in a travel book that Knoxville was the ugliest city in America, with the possible exception of some mill towns in New England. Residents fumed over Gunther's remarks, but one prominent local newspaper columnist, Lucy Templeton, admitted that he had a point. City leaders and civic boosters began looking for ways to showcase Knoxville's considerable natural assets. And in 1955, the first Dogwood Trail was opened. It was on what many consider to be the city's most beautiful street, Cherokee Boulevard in Sequoia Hills. The spotlight on Knoxville's signature flowering tree quickly blossomed into a full-fledged festival. An annual parade through downtown was added to the mix. World-class musicians were brought in for special concerts, from world-class opera to rock and roll favorites. From the beginning, artisans and craftsmen displayed their work on Market Square, and today they're still holding court during the festival in the heart of reborn downtown Knoxville. During the 80s and 90s, the festival expanded skyward, with dramatic air shows drawing tens of thousands of spectators. Held each year in April, Knoxville's fickle springtime weather doesn't always cooperate with festival planners.
By Friday, we should clear up again. Hopefully, we're looking at another nice weekend.
That is the main thing. Keep those dogwoods blooming.
That's right.
Thank you, Moira, very much.
Meaning that over the years, the event's been held in everything from sunny splendor to storms, and even some snow. And 5 decades after its launch, the most popular Dogwood Arts Festival feature remains its first. The more than 60 marked trails through the city's beautiful, blossoming neighborhoods. Today, residents and visitors to the city can see for themselves just how wrong John Gunther was, as each year in April, Knoxville becomes a real, live bloom town. The Dogwood Arts Festival has become a central part of Knoxville's identity and is one of our stories. 50 years of East Tennessee on TV.
Cherokee Boulevard in Sequoia Hills was the very first dogwood trail. Others would follow, like Holston Hills and then Westmoreland, and later they moved to North Knoxville and places like North Hills and Fountain City. There's also Island Home in South Knoxville. Nearly 90 miles in all that are covering all 4 areas of the city.
Really, no matter where you are, you're probably closer to a dogwood trail than you think, so make sure to be looking down, checking out, and seeing if you're on the pink lines or not. They're really in all 4 quadrants of the city, so it's so great to get to showcase all of these different beautiful neighborhoods and how diverse they are for sure.
The Dogwood Arts Festival came about in 1961. For the community that lives along the Dogwood Trail, there's a sense of pride in showing off their undeniable beauty. Anchor Shay Smith has more on these popular trails.
This has got to be my most favorite place of all, especially this time of year.
These dogwoods are an iconic sight in a Knoxville spring.
Anyone that wants a nice place to have a long walk or a run, this is just a beautiful place this time of year to come.
If you're not motivated to exercise, this is the time of year that should really bring it on.
Neighbors are walking, running, and biking down the trail in Sequoia Hills.
Gorgeous tulips and daffodils and pansies. And so when you're running, and you don't have music, you know, to see the beauty, and then you get to run and look out at the water.
The Dogwood trails stretch more than 90 miles throughout 13 neighborhoods across Dean Hill, West Hills, Farragut, and more.
As you travel the trails, you'll see different kinds of architecture, you'll see different kinds of neighborhoods. It really just showcases all of the parts of our city, but the one thing that they all have in common are those beautiful blooming trees.
The historic trails have been around since 1955 and began as a beautification project. Now the community celebrates the trails and beauty along it every April.
As you travel the trails, you'll see camera signs in many of the yards, and that means you can take a picture of the blooms in those gardens. Just please don't take a walk on the property. Keep your safe distance and be respectful. 2025 is a very special year for Dogwood Arts. This is the 70th year since the first trail right in Sequoia Hills opened to the public. As anchor Brittany Bailey shows us, it was all thanks to a group of women who proved that big things can bloom if you plant them with love.
Every year, Knoxville seems to get more beautiful. The blooming dogwood and redbuds signal the jonquils and tulips to open. For 70 years, this symphony of beauty has been appreciated in Sequoia Hills, the first dogwood trail in the city.
There was not a lot of civic pride and not a lot of things to have civic pride about.
Betsy Creekmore's mother and her fellow Knoxville Garden Club members wanted to respond publicly to the claim in a book that Knoxville was the ugliest city in America.
They believed that if they could have people come and look at different parts of the city and see how beautiful they were, that people would in fact regain the civic pride that had been lost.
It took a while for the Garden Club to convince city leaders that Knoxville needed the dogwood trails.
George Dempster was the mayor. They got him convinced, but he wanted the chamber involved, so they had to convince the Chamber of Commerce. And then after the chamber wanted the News Sentinel involved, and so they had to convince the News Sentinel. And they finally, 5 years after the original thought had occurred, they finally opened the first Dogwood Trail, and it was a rousing success.
In 1955, Sequoia Hills Trail opened to the public. Creekmore remembers her job.
Now, the city was not convinced, so they put up a counter to be sure that the traffic had increased on the trail. And one of my jobs as a 12-year-old was to get out in my Merida Girl Scout uniform and redirect the traffic coming down Kennesaw Avenue so that it went across the counter.
Over the years, miles of trails were added to cover all corners of the city.
What they thought was that every area of the city is beautiful. Every area is different. The houses are different, the plants are different, the customs are different, but every area has its own beauty.
Creekmore says she's proud of the women who responded to that ugly comment about Knoxville with beauty.
Oh, unbelievably proud. They set an example for all of us coming along. I mean, that women could get things done. They just had to stand back and let others take credit for it.
For her, no town is prettier.
Knoxville's been called many things, the Scruffy City and the ugliest city in America, all kinds of things. But the greatest thing to call Knoxville is home.
Dogwood Arts has something planned every weekend in April and even to May for 2025. Their biggest event is the Dogwood Arts Festival. It's coming up at the end of April. The three-day festival kicks off April 25th at World's Fair Park, and it runs all weekend long. There will be food, vendors, and lots of fun activities for all ages. It's free to attend, too.
It's kind of the culmination of everything in the spring. It brings together every element of what Dogwood does, the natural beauty, the celebration of art and creativity here in Knoxville, and of course music and culture. And so at that event, it's a three-day festival in Market Square. We have 100 artists from all across the country that join us for that, and performances all weekend long on 2 stages. So really there's something for the whole family at that event.
Each year, Dogwood Arts is overseen by co-chairs. Brittany Bailey recently talked to the 2025 co-chairs about the tradition that we cherish here in East Tennessee. Here she is with Corey Dixon.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And you wore your blue jacket, so thankfully you match. And of course, thank you for shivering through it a little bit with us today. I got to find out, we got to go back. You have a little bit of history with Dogwood Arts as well.
Well, I do, and I can't believe they have brought it to surface. But yes, I was a part of the opening ceremonies a long time ago, and yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a memorable day, getting to sing and perform at the opening ceremonies in the late 90s.
Did you ever think you'd be back and being a chair for Dogwood Arts?
Honestly, I did not, and it's like I've said already, it's true honor to be able to co-chair this amazing event, all these events and this tradition, and I have a lot of big shoes to fill because these co-chairs have been, you know, obviously for 70 years, and a lot of just important things and traditions that have been started, and we're excited to carry those on and keep them going for the next 70 years. So it is truly an honor. Yeah, most definitely.
And what are some of the fun things that people can do? Again, I'm glad you reminded people, 70 years that we've been doing this. This is such a gem and such a beautiful thing for our community.
Well, you've been talking about the Dogwood Trails and the wonderful tradition that it is for Knoxville. I mean, right here in Sequoia Hills, the history and the charm that it brings to East Tennessee. And this Dogwood brings people from near and far, from all over. And so we just are so fortunate to have the events like Dogwood Arts Festival and to have Southern Skies and just all the wonderful things that we provide for this community. It brings us together and it showcases the beauty that this wonderful town has. I mean, there's no better time in East Tennessee than when we're in full bloom.
Right. And again, it will warm up, folks. Don't worry. So,
please, Todd, bring us some sunshine and some warm weather so we can roll our windows down, take the trails on, and just slow down a little bit and take it all in.
And still to come on this special look at the history of Dogwood Arts, we're going to tell you all about other events going on in the area for the Dogwood Arts season, including the big festival at the end of April. On April 5th, more than 300 artists used chalk to cover dozens of sidewalk squares. Chalkwalk is the largest community-driven event hosted by Dogwood Arts. This is the 17th year of the event, and the artists were given 9 hours to finish their drawings. Children and adults alike covered the sidewalk. Each year, the Dogwood Arts hosts their featured gardens. They are only open to the public one weekend in this year. For a $5 donation per garden, you can take a self-guided tour. This year will be the last year the public can tour Baxter Gardens. It's typically open to the public every year, even after the Dogwood Arts events are over. But the family who owns the popular outdoor spot in Fountain City says the number of visitors has become unsustainable for them. In the last 2 years, they have averaged over 30,000 visitors, and they just can't keep it going.
We started putting a car counter in the driveway, and the last couple of years, last year or the year before, we had 30,000 visitors in 1 month, in the month of April, and we don't really have the capacity for that. We never dreamed it would get to that size.
And I got a chance to tour one of the other featured gardens in Fountain City. Savage Gardens in Fountain City is just under 2 acres of pure beauty, and you have the opportunity to see it for yourself this year because it is one of the Dogwood Arts featured gardens. Whenever you enter this garden, you will notice not just the tens of thousands of beautiful blooms, but also the interesting architecture that is sprinkled throughout. The original owner of this garden and home on the property is Arthur Savage. He is the one who immigrated from Europe to then build his house and garden here in the Fountain City community. There are multiple spots on the property where structures have been revitalized, brought back to what they once were, and there are some features that aren't around anymore.
They used to have water in here and some water lilies, and one time the original Savage family used to have an alligator in there, and it was quite a scene. And people came to visit and just admire the garden. There was no garden like this anywhere around.
Construction on the house at this property started in 1917, so that makes this over 100 years old. Now down the line, the current owners, Bill and Patty, bought it, and they have invested so much time and energy making sure that this is a sanctuary not just for them, but others who may drive or walk by and see it.
This is really just a treasure of this neighborhood. I live in this neighborhood too, and it's just kind of make us proud to be a part of this community. It has such a rich history in this neighborhood.
And it has made such an impact on the community that this street is actually called Garden Drive now, but it hasn't always been that way. The city of Knoxville actually renamed it because of this beautiful space. If you want to come check out the garden, you need to on the weekend of April 12th and 13th. That's one of the only times it'll be open up to the public.
Bill really likes to showcase the garden for everybody in the area too. And this is a very rare opportunity for everybody to get to come see. So I really hope that many people can come and visit.
One note also, there are also open gardens like the UT Trail Gardens that are open to the public all year long. One event that's part of the Dogwood Arts too is the Southern Music and Whiskey Festival, Southern Skies. That's coming up on May 10th, and the Dirty Govnas are the ones who curate it. It will also take place at World's Fair Park. The 2025 lineup will include the Dirty Govs, of course, Cruz Contreras and the Black Lilies, and Charlie Crockett, among many others. And at the end of the month, the public is invited to World's Fair Park for the Dogwood Arts Festival. That's at the end of April. The event has something for everyone. If you like to shop, there's plenty of vendors. If you like food, well, they've got a lot of that too. If you like live music, you guessed it, there's that as well. And there's also children's activities and plenty of other fun events too. The Dogwood Arts Festival runs April 25th through the 27th from 10 in the morning to 5 in the evening. Admission is free. Up next, a look back at some of the talented artists featured as part of Dogwood Arts. Stay with us. Welcome back. Back in 2022, Dogwood Arts started a program that supports emerging local and regional makers. The Emerging Makers program offers year-round support to the artists, including educational opportunities, equipment rentals, and coaching. Anchor Brittany Bailey introduced us to some of them back in 2023.
We're getting a peek at art in action, how makers create here at West 5th Studios.
I think there's just the need to make and to be creative and kind of wanting to either create beauty or, share beauty with the world.
Kate Buck is putting the finishing touches on her pieces for the Dogwood Arts Festival. Okay, well, maybe let's not say finishing.
No, I never feel like I'm, finished. I'm still working, still smoothing the edges, doing the finishing touches, gathering pieces. I think we're all kind of in a fun, mad rush to get everything ready and prepared.
Buck and several of her fellow West 5th artists are making their Dogwood debut this weekend, taking that leap from spectator to seller.
So when, a piece is on display and you've been working really hard to create something that's a part of you and part of your experience, for someone else to come and see it and somehow relate in a way, it brings the whole process full circle.
Carolina Lebar is having her own full circle moment.
This is my first art studio. I'm overjoyed. West 5th is amazing.
She's still getting used to her new digs and to the idea of being included in the Dogwood Arts Festival. She'll be one of several new artists featured in the Emerging Makers tent on Sunday. And it's hard for her to really pinpoint what she's looking forward to the most.
The whole thing, to be honest, like really just sitting, at the table, talking with people, getting to talk to them about my art and seeing what everybody else is doing.
And this weekend, the public will be able to see what they've been doing as they put their creativity on display as Dogwood Arts Festival first-timers.
I think that was always a dream. I think seeing a few of my peer artists be there and do well, I think be successful, seeing their art sell was empowering to them. I think I, definitely wanted to be a part of it. That was a part of the dream for sure.
For more on the Dogwood Arts events, you can go to WBIR.com or always visit Dogwood Arts website. We want to thank you so much for watching. I'm Katie Inman. Stay with 10 News and WBIR Plus for all the latest news, weather, and sports.